Okay, our beloveds. So today's message will follow on a message from last week sometime, but in a different flavor or direction. You have been asked to do what you love because you love it and not because of the outcome. So we want to give you two examples of our another's life experience to express what this can specifically look like. So, let's pretend that you believe that everything happens for a purpose and that you are on a particular journey to get you to a particular destination. However, when you focus too hard on what the destination is, you bypass some of the experiences which are meant to just simply be organic outgrowths or expressions of the natural flow of the consequences of life. So if you meet a person, you just naturally allow the conversation to flow from your heart. If you have no end objective in sight, meaning I wish to educate them on a particular thing, I wish to convince them of a particular thing, I wish to make him like me, I wish to get this job, I wish to whatever, right? If you just simply trust that this person has come into your life for a particular experience and you allow your conversation to naturally flow with theirs, you will see how, without attempting to guide it in a particular direction, that it will go where it is designed to go, and only after the conversation has concluded do you look back and say, wow, what was the outcome or what was the consequence of that conversation? Now, our another, because she can talk to us, can ask us specifically what was the consequence, and we will tell her, when you said this, this caused that ripple effect. When you moved that way, when you purchased this particular item, when you posted this particular thing on Facebook, whatever it may be, it will have a ripple effect. And if you do things based on the intuitive knowing that you are just meant to do this or say this at a particular time, it will then get you to where you are meant to go. And the point is for you not to try to force an outcome, but to be present in the moment and to allow the experience to create itself. When you allow the river of life to flow you downstream as it is intended, instead of you paddling in one direction or another, or grabbing onto a branch that comes into your space from the shore, if you can just allow life to flow as it is meant to, the objectives of your soul will be easier to attain because you're not trying to control anything. So that is one particular example. Kati had two conversations with two new individuals in her life where she shared her life story, and she was quite curious whether or not what she said or did was the right thing. And we reminded her that she is not to question whether or not what she said was the right thing, because it is what she felt was right to say in any given moment. Therefore, it was the right thing to say, because she didn't say it for an end objective. She said it because it was bubbling up, desiring to be heard. So that is important for you all to understand, because when you just simply share by making yourself vulnerable, speaking truth as you see it and as you feel it, and you allow the conversation to have a natural flow, you will get to a space where you collaboratively share your respective journeys and they build on one another so that you can learn more about the other person and they can learn about you, and to figure out whether or not there is alignment in your underlying vibration. If you don't hide who you are and you just express yourself vulnerably, and the other person takes that information and intends to use it against you, then you know that you're not a good vibrational match. However, if what you say aligns with what the other person says and believes, then your words will inspire them to possibly share something to create a more vulnerable space. But more importantly, your words will vibrate within their soul where they learn to allow themselves to be more vulnerable within a space of safety. And if one person makes themselves vulnerable, it allows the other person, if they so desire, to also go to that same vibrational space. And if they don't align with you, how can they use what you said against you if it is your truth? All you do is simply defend it and say, whether or not you agree with what I had to say, whether or not you like me as a person, really is irrelevant to me, because I'm sharing my truth, speaking my truth, and being the most authentic me that I possibly can. And if you don't like me, that's your choice, but I'm not going to muzzle myself any longer in hopes of not being ridiculed or denigrated by others. So that's one lesson. The other is when you authentically share who you are and what you are, and you do it from a space of, I just know that I wish to share this, and I really don't care whether or not the analytics support sharing this. When you simply share because it feels good to share, whether it is the right decision for a business model becomes irrelevant, because it's not about how people respond to what you say. It is that you say it. This is a throat chakra expression of self, which means that you simply say it, and at some point it will have its impact, its effect on the world, whatever that means, because your words resonate out into the world and do have a ripple effect. And for those who still see all of this as a business model, what are the analytics of this? They're still living in the old patriarchy. And you just simply say, thank you, and you move on. It doesn't matter what others think or feel or say. The energy of this new space that you are going into is not about how well you are received in the most general sense. It is about you authentically speaking about who you are. An example would be the Black Lives Matter. If people worried about the backlash of those who do not see the world as they do, they would never stand up and share. But it is not about the backlash. It is first and foremost about you sharing about how you see the inequalities in this world and what you are willing to stand up for in order to equal the playing field. And when you stand up and share authentically, or to a certain extent inauthentically as well, you will inspire others who are like-minded to join you. And that is how you build an army of like-minded individuals. The difficulty is when you have people come in who lie or perpetuate an agenda and others join. Then those who have authentic desires join a propagandistic endeavor which is designed to pull them out of where they naturally would go energetically. But that's a different conversation for a different day. Today we are talking about becoming authentically you and not seeing this as a business. What can I get from this? How can I benefit? Will this help me in one way or another? The point right now is for you to become authentically you so that you can be a maestro, a full expression of who you are, and then allow us to ripple it out and to bring you what you are meant to experience and to attract. It's a simplistic explanation, but one which we wish to specifically express today, because yesterday Kati was struggling with these conversations that she had with 3 individuals. And her question was not, did I act or behave in an appropriate manner? It was more, was this the right thing to say in order for me to authentically be me? And we said, don't worry about it. If it felt right in the moment, then it was right in the moment. And if others don't see it as you do, that is okay. You are no longer making decisions based on the needs or the wants of others. You are finally making them based on your own heart's desires. And even if a decision takes you to a negative experience which causes you pain, if you truly trust that the energy of you being authentically you brought you to that experience, then there is something within that experience that is designed to teach you to grow, to become into the more full version of you, which means there are no mistakes, there are no accidents. It is all designed to get you exactly where you are meant to be. But that is predicated upon the fact that you authentically express what you need to express in that moment, and then to reflect on it later to see if it came from a decision of trying to control and manipulate others, or if it was just an authentic expression of self. Now, our another right now is wondering, well, how does this work if you are talking to a racist and the racist authentically is racist and says these things? How is that ever a good thing? Because they are learning to express themselves. And they will then have a backlash of sorts if they communicate with others who are not like-minded, who see the world differently, and who are also in their authentic space. When you have people with differing views come together and authentically and organically share from a place of collaboration instead of trying to control the other person's mindset, you will, number one, begin to understand the mindset of somebody who is racist, because they will honestly and authentically express where it comes from and why they feel that way. And until we can collectively share those types of inner dialogues, we won't know how to address it. And number two, if you can begin to understand why somebody else does come from that space of hatred and lack, which is what it is at the end of the day, you will be able to understand that this person is, believe it or not, a good person like you deep down within, but just with a flawed perspective of division, of lack, of less than enough. And when you begin to realize you are all one, and that there is more than sufficient abundance in the world to meet the needs of everybody, and that we are here just to coexist and experience unique lifetime experiences, and that not everybody is meant to be alike, you will begin to understand how you will come together to create a different world where you allow people to have different mindsets, but ones that come from love. And you cannot get to that space until you can honestly and authentically share why you see the world as you do. And therein lies the solution once again. Being authentically you, whether you are racist or someone who believes that we are all one. Within the conversations are the answers, the solutions to how you all come back together to find yourselves as the cohesive point of the collective that you have always known that you are, but that you have simply forgotten. And so it is. Namaste.